Hi Crochet fam, I am going to show you how to make these adorable headbands like these that I made. These ones I made here were made with a 4mm hook and DK yarn. However, in the video I'm going to show you with 5mm hook and medium weight yarn. So first I'll show you the picture. I'll put it up on the screen. And this is just pixel art that I found. Flip it to where the right side of the picture is on the bottom. And if there's a way where you can mark it up as you go, that would be best. Because marking it with like arrows of what direction you went for each row is really going to be helpful as you go. So you can look to see what direction you went the previous row so you know where you're at in the picture. Also, bear with me because I'm recording the audio as I go. Normally I do voiceover after the fact, but I'm trying to make it to where I can upload more frequently or consistently. And if I record the audio as I go, it may not be as perfect, but I can do it more frequently because doing voiceover later obviously just takes up more time, and I already don't really have a ton of time because I work, have a baby, all that. So bear with me. We're going to try this again. I also have a baby, so you might hear some baby noises here and there in the background. And that's just the way it is. So I hope that's all right. But this will still be worth it, I promise. This is a perfect gift idea. This only took me 2.5 hours to make. And this is truly my first actual tapestry project. All right, so we'll start with a slip knot. Also check the description below for anything you might need. I have quick stitch tutorials. I have all the tools and materials. If you end up using any of those links, that does overall help me in the long run to be able to continue videos. Also like and subscribe, please. That would be great too. Obviously, as you know how YouTube works, the more likes and shares and subscribers that I can get, the easier it is to spend more time making videos. So anyway, it's appreciated. All right, so we're gonna start with a chain of 10. Okay, and then chain one more to use as our turning chain. And then the first row is just all blue. So single crochet along this row. So insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull it through both loops. I'll show you one more time in case you're a beginner. Insert, grab a yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, grab your yarn over and pull through both. That's a single crochet. It's hot today, so my yarn is kind of sticking to me a little bit. And the colors I'm using are different than the picture, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so the first row I basically went right to left. So mark with an arrow on your picture and chain 1 and turn, and then now we're going left to right on the second row. So we'll do 8 blues and stop before you do the 8th. 2, and I'll show you how to change colors when we get to that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so when we go to do the 8th one, I'll show you how to switch colors. So get your next color ready. I'm using this lighter yellow in replace of the dark yellow in the picture, and then the lighter yellow in the picture I'm using white, and then the brown in the picture I'm using a darker yellow. Also, you'll see in the picture there are 2 browns. There's a lighter brown and a darker brown. I'm just doing the same for both of those browns. So I'm doing 4 colors total instead of 5. So just so that's not confusing later. Anyway, get your color ready. You can do a slip knot, but that's also not necessary. We can just grab it like that, which I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so go to do your single crochet, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook. Instead of yarning over and pulling through, we're going to pull our new color through to complete that stitch. And then also, to make sure our work's going the right way, you want to bring your yarn back, because we have to keep our tails and stuff all on one side. So we're technically on the wrong side right now. And we know that because our tail that from our foundation chain is on the bottom right. When it's on the bottom left, that's when we're on the right side. Okay? And the first few rows it's hard to not get a little bit tangled because you have all your extra tail ends, but it'll get easier. Sorry, I know there's so much background noise. I'm trying, guys, I'm trying. Okay, so bring your yarn forward, or I guess bring it back, and then that tail end as well. All right, and now we're going to complete the row. This is the darker yellow in the picture. And keep the next row in mind before completing this last single crochet. So we're not going to complete this because we got to switch colors again, because the first color in the next row is the light yellow. In my case, I'm using the white. So instead of completing that single crochet, we're going to grab the next color and pull it through just like we did when switching colors before. And then chain 1 and turn. And again, mark with your arrow. Okay, so we're only doing 1 stitch of this color, so don't complete it. And now for this row, because now our tail end is on the bottom left, this is the right side of our work, we can let our yarn and tail ends hang on the back side. So instead of completing this color, we're switching back to the darker yellow in the picture. In my case, it's this lighter yellow. And you'll see it's just kind of hanging. You can pull it from, I'm trying to do it in a way to where I don't have to keep moving my skeins around. So I'm just kind of gonna pull it over all these other pieces of yarn, and that's totally fine. But just from wherever it's at, bring it over and pull through. And then just one of this color, one stitch of this color for this row. And same thing. So each time you switch colors, you kind of gotta do it at the end of the previous stitch. And now we're switching back to the blue. And you can tighten your yarn as you go. And we're just doing one of the blue. So don't complete it. Switching back to the darker yellow in the picture. In my case, the light yellow. We're doing 3. 1, 2, 3. The last one, instead of completing, we gotta switch colors again. And we're switching back to the blue. And 4 blues. And always keep the first color of the next row in mind, since you have to switch colors on the last stitch of the row then. In this case, it's still blue, so we don't have to do it, but just something to keep in mind. And just did my last stitch of that row. Mark your row in your picture. I'm telling you. I know it's tempting to just keep going and you think you'll keep track in your mind, but I don't know, maybe it's just me. But you know, work smarter, not harder, I guess, or something. Whatever people say. Okay, and I mean, that's truly it. Just keep following the picture. And then when you get to the brown in the picture, you'll just switch colors on. I guess you could do 5 colors if you want. I'm just doing the 4. So the light brown and the dark brown in the picture, I'm doing 1 color. But you can do whatever you want. But I hope that helps to at least get you started. I can show you one more row actually of where you had to kind of pull the strings back, since the next row is the wrong side. So I can show you one more. And then from there, I mean, it's kind of just, you just follow the picture. Oh, also when I turn like this. So here, I'll just show you. So like this, and then like this, and then back this way and back this way, versus normally I turn like this. So you're gonna get all twisted up if you do it like that. So just try to keep it consistent that way. I hope that makes sense. I guess it depends on how you normally turn your work, but I tend to always turn the same way, so you'll want to not do that. So we chained and turn. And 4 blues for this row. 2, 3, 4. Don't complete that stitch. Bring your working yarn back. Now we're going to the dark yellow in the picture, light yellow for me. And just from wherever it's at, grab it and pull through. And just 1 of this color, switching to the light yellow in the picture, white for me. And I know the way I'm like working these tails, like see how I'm now pulling the white kind of over these instead of untangling it here? That's because of where my skeins are at. And it just keeps it from tangling at where my skeins are at. So, and also, so when you go from a farther stitch like this, you don't want it too tight or else it's going to curve your work. So, just give yourself enough slack. And remember that tail end, or that working yarn, sorry, of the color we just did. We want it in front of the next stitch. So in between this stitch that we're doing and the last stitch that we did. Okay. And we're doing 2 of this color. So 1 and 2. We're not completing. We're switching colors. Back to yellow. Bring your working yarn back and then work around it like so. And 2 of this color. 1, 2. Instead of completing, bring your working yarn back and switch back to the lighter yellow, in my case the white. And I'm not going to complete this stitch because I need to switch colors for the first stitch of the next row. So mark your picture with an arrow. Sorry, my daughter is playing with her crinkles right now. She loves her crinkles. Okay. And still bring your working yarn back, even though we're at the end of the row, so you can pull this new color around it to kind of hold it in place, I guess. And then chain 1 and turn, and just 1 of this color. Instead of completing, switching colors. And then 1, 2, and 3. So instead of completing, and this row we can just let our yarn, because we're on the right side, just let your yarn hang on the back side there. And switching back to the other yellow. And tighten you can kind of tighten the previous stitch a little bit. And then we're doing 3 of this color. 2, 3 instead of completing. Now we're switching to the blue. And we got 3 blues. 1, 2, 3, and the first stitch of the next row is blue, so we can complete this like normal. So yeah, that's it. I guess I ended up showing you more rows than I planned, but I just want to make sure it makes sense. please like comment with any like questions or concerns, or thoughts, whatever. And just continue working with your picture. And I will still continue recording to while I finish this. But I'm gonna speed it up and put some, I don't know, chill music in the background to chill to. You can skip forward. I'll put chapters below so you can skip to the next part if you want, which the next part is just gonna be like once we're done with the actual headband, we're gonna add these little ends here. Do some decreases to do that if you want. You can also just stitch the ends together if you don't want it a tying one, I guess. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. So continue working your picture and I'll meet you back. I also wanted to add, hopefully you can tell as you see me work, but when I untangle, I'm doing it starting from the skeins versus starting from my work. I hope that makes sense. And that way I'm not having to eventually move my skeins around and try to untangle those. So I hope that makes sense. So when I untangle, I'm starting from the side of the yarn where my skeins are from versus where my work is from. So anyway, hope that helps. I actually just wanted to add real quick that when you do your last brown in the picture, yellow for me, when you do your last stitch of that color, you can cut for the first flower, you can cut just because and when you need it next, it's gonna be like up here. So it's just kind of a far way to stretch. I'll show you an example. So the first one, I left it, and then I don't know, it's kind of, I guess you can leave it if you want, but I didn't really like it like that. So the second one I made, I did where I cut it, and then I just weaved in the ends later. So it's a bit cleaner and like less likely to catch on things, I guess. So about to complete the last stitch of this color, and now it'll just be a bit cleaner that way. Now switching back, and now that stitch is technically complete. I'm gonna continue. Just wanted to mention that real quick. So Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to do the decreases. So you get to the end, when you've done your last row, we're gonna cut off our yarn, but leave the blue one. Leave the blue one as is, but cut the others. All right. And then the blue one. Okay, so I did my last stitch. We'll chain one and turn. And we'll just do one regular row across. Oops. And then chain one and turn. And now we're going to start our decreases. So the first 2 stitches, we're going to decrease with the single crochets. So insert, grab your yarn, pull it through. 2 loops on your hook. Instead of completing the stitch, insert into the next stitch. Grab your yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And then we'll single crochet until there are 2 stitches left in the row. And then we'll do the same thing in the last 2 stitches. So insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, insert into the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we chained 1, then turn, and then we'll do the same exact thing. So in the first 2 stitches, we'll decrease. So insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, insert into the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, pull through all 3. And then single crochet until you have 2 stitches left. Decrease here. Chain 1. And turn, and do the exact same thing. Decrease over the first 2, single crochet to each stitch until you have 2 left, and then decrease over the last 2, chain 1, turn. And we'll do the same thing. Decrease over the first 2. There's only 4 stitches to work into, so we'll also decrease into the last 2. So that one we didn't need to do any single crochets in between. And chain 1 and turn. And now we have 2 stitches to work into, and we'll just decrease over those 2 stitches. And then chain 1 and cut to fasten off. And that's it. And we're gonna basically do the same thing on the other side. Make a slip knot. And then we're gonna start with a standing single crochet instead of like chaining. So I'll show you how to do that. It's basically just a regular single crochet, but you're starting with a slip knot already on your hook. And so insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then you end up with 2 loops on your hook because one of them is that slip knot, and you just work it like it's a regular loop. So turn over, pull through both. That's a standing single crochet. So we're gonna do that all the way. We're gonna do single crochets all the way across, so should have 10 if you include the standing single crochet at the beginning. And I like to work under like the X. I feel like it's more secure that way when you're working into a foundation chain, because that's what we're doing here. So just a little tip, I guess. Nine and 10, and then chain 1 and turn, and now we're going to start our decrease rows. So decrease over the first 2, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, insert into the next stitch, grab your yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and single crochet until you have 2 stitches left to work into. This is why I like to do a standing single crochet, because it's just easier to find at the end. And then decrease over these last 2 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. Do the exact same thing. Decrease over the first 2. Single crochet until you have 2 left. Decrease over the last 2. And then decrease over the first 2. Single crochet until you have 2 left. Decrease over the last 2. Chain 1 and turn. Decrease over the first 2. And decrease over the last 2. And now we only have 2 stitches to work into, so we'll just decrease over those 2. Oops. And then chain 1 and cut. Fasten off. And all we have left to do is to weave in our ends. Alright, you guys, that's it. We are done. We're not weaving in these tail ends at the very end because those are going to be our ties. So I hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe if you did. so I know what kind of stuff you guys are vibing with. So yeah. All right, see you in the next one.